Hey, good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where in the world you are tuning in from. This is Dr. Venesia. How are you doing? Welcome to Venesia Empower Show. I am so excited to have you on today. Yes, it is our Tuesday Empowerment Talk. And yes, we have a phenomenal, amazing special guest coming on today, align with Allison. She's an expert relationship coach and dating coach. So it's going to be phenomenal on today. I want you all to let me know where you are tuning in from. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We've got you streaming on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So let me know where you are tuning in from. For those that don't know, I am Venesia Williams, the #1 empowerment coach in the UK, the author of the books, The Power of Renewing Your Mind, How God Turned My Darkness into Marvelous Light, which is Turning Point, is our best seller. So you definitely want to make sure you grab your copies. They're available on Amazon or directly from my website. That's www.venesiawilliams.com. I'm also the co-founder of the Power of Love Ministries, and we have our service every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. British Standard Time. So make sure you definitely tune into that. And also, one more, the Empowering Women to Win Network, where we do our virtual and our in-person gatherings where we empower, encourage, and equip women to win in every single area of our life. We've got our conference coming up in June, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So you want to definitely make sure you are there. It's going to be a time of networking, collaborating, and just people coming and really beginning to share their expertise, creating a space where you can come and show what it is that you do, who you are, and really be connected to other women that are winning and want to see you. And I think environment is so key and important. So definitely make sure you show up. And we have our phenomenal guest that is going to be joining us on today, Align with Allison, the dating and relationship coach. If you are not following this woman on Instagram, you don't know what it is that you are doing. You've got to make sure you are following. She does some amazing content pertaining to relationships and answering questions with that, and giving great wealth of knowledge also. So without further ado, I'm definitely going to invite her on. I know you all don't want to see me today, you all want to see Coach Alison, but we're going to bring her on. 1 second. Hey Queen, how are you?
Hello, how are you? I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I thank you for accepting the invitation and coming on today. Please do tell our listeners. I tried, but it always sounds better coming from the person. So please do, tell them a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Allison. I am a certified dating and relationship coach in the States, and I primarily work with single women to help them to achieve their relationship goals.
Amazing. So what got you what was your spot? What was your why behind actually getting into relationship coaching?
Yes, absolutely. So, uh, before I was with my husband, that I've been with now for almost 3 years, I was in a relationship with a gentleman who was either unwilling or unable to commit. I don't know which one, it doesn't really matter. All I know is that I was not able to get what I wanted in terms of the natural progression of things, the way that I saw it. We were together for 4 years. I'm asking questions about a bank account and buying a property and having a baby and getting engaged and getting married. And his answers were not enough. we were not taking the most appropriate steps, in my opinion. So as a result, at the end of those 4 years, I decided that it was best that I just keep it moving and I move on. So from there, because I do have a master's degree in counseling, I was able to kind of, even though you're not supposed to do this if you're in the mental health space, I was able to kind of create my own process in order to get through that heartbreak and in order to prepare myself to get back on the dating scene. Because even though I just positioned it like he, it was also me. There were some things about me that wasn't necessarily very desirable. And if I wanted to get back on the dating scene, I needed to work on becoming the best version of myself. So after I created that process and I went through it myself, I started dating my husband and we were married 2.5 years after that breakup. So I said to myself, well, if I could create this process for me and I can find success for myself, then I can only imagine and that means that I would be able to replicate this and work with other women who may not be fulfilled in their current relationship. Maybe their current relationship has just ended, it's now former. They want to get back onto the dating scene. They recognize that they do want a loving, fulfilling relationship that's stoked in commitment and love. And so, if I could create this process for myself, I'm sure that I could replicate it for others. And that's what allowed me to launch Align with Allison.
Wow. So basically, you done the work yourself and found the strategies that really work. You implemented it, you found the system, and then you replicated it and helping like hundreds. You're helping hundreds and thousands of people now do the same thing. That is so amazing. So, what would you say is the common challenge single women find when it comes to dating? Because you said that like shortly after you with your breakup that you was able to go through your healing process and get back on the dating scene, because
Yes.
I find a lot of people there's that gap where how we know we ready to go back on the dating scene.
Yes. There's so many challenges.
Mm,
But to answer to direct your particular question about
yeah.
how do you know when you're ready, which is one of the challenges for sure. What I would say is if you are still harping on your ex, then that is the number one indication that you are not ready. So that means every time your phone vibrates or rings, in your heart, in your mind, you're hoping that it's them. Your heart drops thinking that maybe it's him who's reaching out again to reconcile. When you drive past places that you used to frequent, you're still thinking of that person. Oh, that's the Mexican restaurant that such and I used to go to. And no, that's our favorite park where we would walk the dog, right? It's at some point, if you think about it, we pretty much live in the city that we've lived in for years, I would imagine. We have probably gone to many places with exes. There's a point that happens that when you see that place, you no longer think of that person. If you're still thinking of that person, then that means that you're not prepared to move on. And then the last thing, which is very obvious, like if you are actually physically going through an emotional roller coaster where you are actively crying when you are thinking about your ex, right? Like when you actually have an emotional reaction to thinking about them, for them being brought up, if it bothers you, like if you're still bothered, that means you're not ready. Now, that last point, however, about still being bothered may not be directly related to the ex. Sometimes we are bothered when we hear about exes because it's more of a representative, like it's symbolic and it reminds us of where we want to be. So it may not be about the ex in that last point. However, the point still remains you're not ready, because if you're still angry, right, if you're still holding on to those kinds of emotions, then that means that you're not prepared, because that means that you're not going to give the next person a fair shake. You're still holding on to that old baggage. And as long as you hold on to that old baggage, then you're not going to be as successful as you like. Could you get into a new relationship? Sure. But if you're holding the new person accountable for what they did not do and you haven't let go of what the other person did, then that's not going to be fruitful for you.
Wow. Wow. So okay, so what about the woman then that's gotten over gotten over the healing process, but just got in a place where it's like you're just comfortable with yourself? Because I've been single for 9 years, and
Mhm.
I'm just like,
So a lot of people say that, like, oh, I'm just so comfortable. Oh, I don't want to have to share my house or my space.
mhm.
Oh, I just enjoy the peace. I say this and I say this lovingly, Doc. When people say that, it's really them responding to fear. I'm afraid that if I allow somebody into this space, then they're going to disrupt it. I'm afraid that if I extend myself, then I don't know what the repercussions are going to be. So people like to say it's, oh no, I just enjoy being alone. But then in the same breath, they say, but I want a partner. Which one is it? It can't be both. Either you legitimately enjoy being alone, which exists. I'm not trying to say that no one wants to be alone. Sure, there's some people who legitimately want that. But I also hear those same people say, oh, I want a boyfriend, I want a husband, I want children, I want family, but I enjoy my peace. No, it's I want those things and I'm afraid that if I try, I will fail. I'm afraid that I'm going to choose the wrong person because those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can have peace with the right partner.
Yeah.
You might not have peace with a baby. That's going to be a while, right? A couple of years. But relatively speaking, you're going to get to that point sooner rather than later. Time, everyone says it has a kid, it goes by. It's not about I enjoy my peace. It's I'm afraid I'm going to make the wrong choice, and whoever I choose is going to disrupt this. And so I'm not willing to take the risk. And I would rather just sometimes I would rather just hold on to this. I'm afraid to take the risk. That's really what is at the root of it all.
That's really good. That is really good, Allison. You're making me think now. That's really good. I like it. So, what would be some tips that you would encourage that single woman then to getting back out there then?
Yes.
In
So
in a healthy way.
yes, number one, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. We cannot order our husband on Amazon. He is not going to show up in our mailbox. We have to put ourselves out there either online or in person, or really what I when I work with my clients, I make them do both. I want to have as many opportunities as possible to meet as many people as possible. So I'm not going to put all of my eggs in the online basket. I'm not going to put all of my eggs in the Friday night, Saturday night basket. I'm going to do a full court press and I'm going to put my opportunities and maximize them. So that's both online and offline. So the number one thing is you have to get serious about putting yourself out there. If you're going to say, well, Allison, I'm an introvert and I don't really prefer being outside, well, how are you going to meet him? You tell me, give me a reasonable method that you're going to meet someone if you are not putting yourself out there, either online, in person, or both. If you have a solid answer, then I will shut my mouth. But I don't have another answer. And I've been doing this for 3 years. I don't know any other way. So since I don't know any other way, I can't imagine that y'all do. Go outside. And if you don't want to physically go outside, or maybe you don't have as many opportunities in your immediate town, you need to be putting yourself online so you can meet as many people as possible.
Wow. I'm taking notes.
Yes, I see. I see you taking notes, Doc. I see you.
So we gotta put ourselves out there. That's one tip.
I give you tip number 2. So tip number
Online,
2. Mm-hmm.
online and in person.
Online and in person. Tip number 2 is going to be I'm going to give you part A and part B.
Mm.
Part A of tip number 2 is when we talk about online, you have to be very strategic about the language that you use. Many times, because people are afraid or people have been hurt, they don't realize that they're being very negative in their tone and the terms that they use online, which is a deterrent to good people and are actually bringing you bad people. So, what do I mean by that? I've seen plenty of profiles that says, if you're an F boy, then don't swipe right on me. And if you're not serious about commitment, don't send me a message. And I understand the sentiment. However, guess what? The good guys are going to say, oh, wow, Allison's a negative Nancy. I don't want to be around that. She's jaded. She's angry. She's hurt. I don't want to be around that. And so the good guys won't message me. And the F boys are F boys for a reason. They enjoy the chaos. They enjoy the bacchanal. So what are they going to do? They're going to purposely send me a message. They're going to purposely reach out. Then I'm going to turn and say, oh, see, this is why you don't go online because look at all these negative interactions. You started it. So being very careful with the language that you use. Can you still share that you're serious? Yes. But don't say it as, if you're not looking for commitment, don't message me. Instead, you're going to say, I am looking for a committed relationship. I am looking for a commitment, right? You say what you want, not what you don't want. Because guess what? The F boys are going to read that profile. They're going to say, oh, wow, Allison's too serious. I don't want all that. She's coming on too heavy. She's coming on too strong. And they're going to run. And guess what? That's a good thing. We don't want people who don't want what we want. I know a lot of folks are going to say, oh no, that's going to turn people away. Yes, good. That's what we want. I'm not saying that I'm looking for you to marry me, sir. I'm talking about I value the institution of marriage, and I want to talk to other people who value the institution, and then we'll see whether or not we're a good match for each other. Make sense? So
Yeah.
please speak in tone, a positive tone, and talk about what you want or what you don't want. That's online. So that's tip number 2A. Tip number 2B is offline. If you are going out by yourself, that's the best thing. Please do not go out with a crew. If you're telling me that you're going out to potentially meet gentlemen, to meet suitors, then this is not a girls' night. Your girls' night can be reserved for another day. You are not setting yourself up for success when you are going out with a crew of women. It either needs to be by yourself or one other person. And let me tell you why. The path of least resistance. If there is a gentleman who is in a space, let's say you guys are at a mixer, right? A professional mixer. Everyone they're professionals, and it's at a bar or a club or wherever. It's a space. And there is this version of me, Allison, who is completely by herself on one end of the party. And there's my twin, Alicia, looks just like me, behaves just like me, dressed just like me. And Alicia is on the other side of the party and she's with five other girls. Who is he more inclined to go up to?
The one by herself.
The one by herself, or at least one friend. Why is that? It's cheaper. So if he comes up to Allison, the one who's by herself, he's buying one drink. If he goes to Alicia, he's buying six drinks, one for me and then one for all of my friends, because he can't leave the friends out. Then he's going to look like he's broke and he's cheap. Then he also has to be concerned about rejection. He goes to Allison, the one by herself. If I reject him, it's quiet. Well, actually, I'm good. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. If he goes to Alicia around the five other friends, it's ladies' night. We're hanging out. We're good. No, thank you. It's loud. It's obvious. He can potentially be really embarrassed. He could potentially be laughed out of the place. Be reasonable. Go out by yourself or with one friend. No more than that. Anything more than that, it's ladies' night, and you're not serious about being approached.
Are you getting all this information, ladies? Listen, and gentlemen, listen, this is so good. I never really thought about it like that, Allison.
Yes, we have to be reasonable. And some might say, oh, well, I want an alpha guy and he's going to come up regardless. You have to be reasonable. Even an alpha guy is who doesn't take the path of least resistance? We have our food delivered, right? We have our clothes laundered. We use technology to make our lives easier. We make decisions that make our lives easier. We take the shortcut for everything. So why would he not take the shortcut for this? If he has someone who's just as attractive on the other side of the space that he's standing in, he's going to go over there. That's logical. It's reasonable. It's the intelligent thing to do. Forget about, oh no, he's being a punk. The most reasonable thing is to take the path of least resistance.
Mm, that is good. And any tips with online dating?
Yes. So, other than what I said about staying positive, you need to be mindful of the photos that you're choosing. A lot of women complain about just too much like sexual commentary or messaging they don't like. It makes them uncomfortable, obviously, right? And it's not the women's fault. I'm not blaming them, but there are some images that kind of lead to a more sexual conversation. No bathing suit pics. I don't care if you're on the beach. I don't care if you are on a boat. I understand that you might be wanting to paint a picture of, hey, look at the lifestyle that I lead. I travel. That's my expectation of anyone that I date. I get it. Find something else. But when you have the photos of the bathing suit or something that's extremely revealing, you are giving people the impression that you are a sexual, like an overly sexual being. We're all sexual beings, but an overly sexual being. And then you might be attracting more attention than what you want. You still may get inappropriate messages, even if you're dressed like a nun. Don't get me wrong. But if we want to lessen those inappropriate messages, do not over sexualize your photos.
That's really good. That is really good. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Is there anything else you'd like to share regarding when it comes to relationships? What you've
Yes,
learned?
absolutely. So I tell my clients one of the most important things that they can do in order to set themselves up for success with dating and relationships is for them to be clear on their non negotiables. The non negotiables are behaviors and traits that a potential partner must seemingly have in order for you to continue to date them. And again, we state these in the positive. So, what are you looking for? I would like a partner who is um, hardworking. I would like a partner who is affectionate. I would like a partner who is good looking. I want a partner who's financially sound. Don't say, I don't want nobody who's broke, and I don't want nobody who cheats, and I don't want nobody who smokes. No, I want someone who is financially sound. I want someone who is healthy, right? So if you're healthy, you're not a smoker. Those are the things that you should be listing and being very clear. I will say this: women are notorious for having an outrageous list. By outrageous, I mean too long, and
Mhm.
I mean just unrealistic. They don't have the things that they're asking for, or they can't complement those things. I tell my clients that you should have a list of about 6 things that are your non negotiables. Of course, we're all human beings and we're way more complex than that, but that's your guideline of if he meets these 6 things, if she meets these 6 things, then I will continue to see them. Of course, they can have more, but this is a bare minimum. And then that way you have very clear standards and then an outrageous laundry list that no one could ever match. And then, secondly, do you have those things or can you complement them? So I don't expect everything to be a perfect match, especially if we're talking about heterosexual relationships, because if we're talking about heterosexual relationships, men and women differ and we should be complementing each other like yin and yang. But even with the yin and yang, it's the same shape, right? And where there's a black dot, there's a white dot. And where there's a white dot, there's a black. It's a complement, right? So they're opposites, but they complement each other. So you don't have to be exact, but be realistic. So what do I mean by that? We talk about financial soundness, right? Someone being financially sound. I don't have an expectation that a woman makes as much money as her potential partner. I don't have an expectation that a woman matches his salary, right? But what I would say is, would a financially sound man date you?
Mm.
Okay. Now, of course, there are instances where a millionaire might meet somebody in Target and marry them. But would a financially sound man date you? Do you give the impression that if he gave you money, that you could manage it? If your finances are in a wreck, if your credit score is in the toilet, then would it be financially sound? Would it be reasonable for a man to date someone like that? If he's smart financially, he would not mix his finances with a woman who was a financial wreck, right? So again, it doesn't have to be an exact match. I have a 700 credit score, so he has to have a 700 credit score. I make 100,000 US, so he has. It doesn't have to be a perfect match, but be reasonable. Would it make sense for him to want to mix finances with you? Are you someone who manages your money decently? If so, then that's a good match. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what could a woman that now is looking, that she's really looking to start potentially dating, what can she do? Because I know you talked about what she could look for in the man and the sort of the steps that she needs to take. What can she do for herself to prepare herself for dating?
Yes. So there's something that was really important in my process that I created for me, and that I replicate when I work with my clients, which is we have to be reflective on some of the behaviors and traits that we exhibit that's undesirable. What do you do that ain't cute? Right? So my thing was, and I work on it. I'm pretty good at it. I used to be very argumentative. I found joy in arguing with people, and as a matter of fact, I'll take it a step further, which is really a nasty trait. I enjoyed making people feel small. It
Mm.
made me feel smart to make other people feel dumb, to prove to them that they don't know what they're talking about and I know what I'm talking about. How desirable is that in a partner? Who wants to come home to that, right?
Mm.
So again, like I said in the intro, when people ask me how I got into this, I say the same story. I was with a guy for 4 years. He didn't want to commit on the level that I was looking for, but maybe he had the foresight that I didn't see. Maybe he didn't want to commit to someone who's argumentative and is
Mm.
that right, and enjoys making. That's not a nice trait to have. We have to be honest about what are some of the things That's not very cute about us, because then again, we can't be upset when people don't want to commit to mess. Is it your finances? Are your finances a mess? Get it together. Is it that you lack confidence because you don't feel good about your physique? If so, get it together. Is your mouth nasty, right? Like you just have a nasty mouth. You talk down to people. You're belligerent. Maybe you drink in excess. Whatever that looks like, you need to start working on you, that you're showing up as the best version of you. Because if you want to have the best version of someone else, how dare you not show up as the best version of you? Why would they choose you? Be realistic. Why would they choose you if they can get someone else who shows better qualities?
Oh, that's so good, Allison. That is so good. Listen, you need to let them know how they can book their sessions with you, where they can find you, because this is just such a wealth of knowledge, and some of the things you don't really think about, and now that you've highlighted it, it's just made me think, wow.
Yes. So anyone who's looking to work with me, they can go to bookallison.com, BOOKALISON.com, bookallison.com. And there you can book a one-on-one session. The real work, though, is in full coaching programs. A lot of times people, and I say this lovingly, they want to cheapen their route and they want to piecemeal their problem. I'll listen to podcasts and I'll write a journal. Look, and I say again, say this lovingly, you're 35, you're 40, you're 45, you haven't met your goals yet. That means it's time for someone else to step in. That means you haven't figured it out. It's time for, it doesn't have to be me, but someone else needs to step in. So I do offer one-on-one sessions, but really full coaching programs are the way to go in order to get to the result that you want. You should be meeting with your coach weekly. You should be having homework assignments. You should be responding to prompts. There should be a Facebook group. There should be interaction, at least access to interaction 24/7. We cannot change our behaviors that we've been exhibiting for 30, 40, 50 years by talking to somebody for an hour. It doesn't work like that. That's why therapy really is 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years. It takes time to undo some of the limiting beliefs that we have. It takes time to undo some of the negative beliefs that we have about ourselves, about men, about society. And so bookallison.com. I also have free resources there too. But again, it's really time that we start investing in ourselves in order to get to the results that we want. We can't piecemeal this anymore. We need to really invest in ourselves so we can meet our goals.
Oh, thank you so much, Allison, for sharing on today and just taking the time out to help to educate us and just share your expertise on today. Is there any final words before we wrap up on today? I've got so much notes. It's been such a wealth of information. I absolutely love it.
Yes, well, that would have been my final thought because that's the most poignant. But I will say this, please be mindful of who you follow on social media. They call your timeline a feed. Your feed. You're feeding yourself, right? You're feeding your mentality. You're feeding your belief system. You're feeding or not feeding your self esteem. We have to be more mindful of who we follow. We complain about these podcasters who are spreading all this negativity about women, about men, about, right? Stop watching them. Stop sharing their stuff. Stop clicking on the link. Like, we're the ones who create our social media feed. We're the ones who make someone popular. We're the one who makes someone a celebrity. So there's all this complaint about who's saying what about, and I don't know, this messaging is so negative. It's so terrible for the Black community, blah, blah, blah. But we're the ones who are perpetuating it. Choose not to follow, choose not to like, choose not to subscribe, and it will change your outlook and change your results.
Allison came on, coach, and she just dropped the bombs on today. Thank you so much
Yes.
for just coming on. Remember, go to www.bookallison.com. Invest in the coaching program so that you can get the action steps that is needed. If you want to definitely, if you're single, I know she predominantly works with single women that are looking for a committed relationship and want to know the key things that they need to do to prepare themselves and what the steps they need to do to look for in that potential partner, and guidance is always best. A lot of times we're doing things ourselves and we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. So if you see, that you're struggling in an area, then definitely reach out to somebody that's got the results that you desire, that's got the steps that you need. So I definitely encourage you to definitely follow her on Instagram at Align with Allison, and check out her content. Make sure you go high up, you go like, and she says she's also got some free resources available on her website where you can start to feed yourself with something positive and get yourself ready for that potential handsome other significant
Guess what, Doc? I'm going to change that. You're going to get yourself, not for the potential, you're going to get yourself together for your husband. You want a husband? You're going to get yourself together for him. It will happen. You have to put in the work in order for it to happen.
Yes.
No potential.
For your husband.
Yes.
For your husband. That's it. We just speaking what we want. That's what I'm going out here. Speak what you want.
Yes, absolutely. Well said.
Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you for coming on today. We truly do appreciate you. We're gonna wrap it up now. Coming, darling.
Yes, and I have a package too. Everyone's calling our attention. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Allison. I'll let you go now, and I'll catch you back later.
Yes.
Okay?
Have a good one. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was so powerful. Listen, I'm telling you, I got a wealth of notes. I'm going to be booking my session. I am telling you, this was fully loaded. So make sure you definitely go and check out Coach Alison at Align with Allison over there on IG, and you can go to www.bookallison.com. Okay, please, I want you to leave your comments. I want to see your comments. I want to see you share. I want to see you like this. We had a double on today because we just had Paula on, and then we had our relationship and dating coach Allison that just gave out so much information. And I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but if you got something from this, if you was blessed, if you was encouraged, I need you to heart it up. I need you to like right now. I'm not gonna stay with you long because it's almost after 10 in the UK now. Once again, I'm Venesia Williams, the #1 empowerment coach in the UK. You was tuned in today to Tuesday Empowerment Talk, and wow, was it empowering. That's what we're here to do, to shift your mind to another level, to elevate you in every single area of your life. If you'd like to connect, please go to www.venesiawilliams.com. You can reach me there and I'll be happy to connect with you, or you can just slide on up in the DM. I will try my best to reach out to you. Have a phenomenal evening. It's been an absolute pleasure being with you on today. God bless you. Bye-bye. And before I go, listen, don't forget Empowering Women to Win Conference. I just saw someone remind me in the chat. Empowering Women to Win Conference, the 30th of June. You can grab your ticket at www.empoweringwomen-to-win.co.uk. It is going to be phenomenal. We've got so many women flying in from all across the globe. So make sure you grab your ticket. We only got a few VIP tickets available, so you want to make sure that you grab your tickets. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. God bless you. Bye-bye.